happier. Run to Old Navy tomorrow to get 50% off all jeans for the fall. Get all your favorite denim styles, all at 50% off for just one day only, tomorrow at Old Navy. Valid 12/26.
Blog Talk Radio.
You were listening to Unpopular Popularity here on NewMediaCentral.net. Merry Christmas, you punk bitches. Enjoy the night. Andrew Powell, Kelvin Gravely, and sitting in for John Stutsman, the white nationalist himself, Bryden Proctor. We've all been waiting for this moment, motherfuckers. Merry Christmas.
Where do the hungry and the needy greedies got to eat? Life is so crucial and cold. That's for the children in this world. They hopes and dreams can't afford. The younger
After the show, make sure you download the podcast on iTunes and also for free stream on YouTube.
Cause those who ain't able to get it, now can finally get it. Cause the ghetto Santa Claus will sprinkle the hood. Now we born and living to a new year. A better thing, celebrate with some champagne. Ha ha.
Now on the first day of Christmas, my homeboy gave to me a sack of that crazy glue and told me to smoke it up.
NewMediaCentral.net. NewMediaCentral.net. NewMediaCentral.net.
By the third day of Christmas, my big homeboy gave to me a whole lot of everything, and it wasn't nothing but game to me.
Back then you woke up to the sound. I saw mama kissing Santa, made you reminisce on the old-fashioned Christmas days. Gifts missed, a fat man jolly with joy. Down your chimney with toys for little girls and boys. Pumped up, I jumped up before the sun peeked in and hoped to
No more happy holidays. Merry Christmas, you punk bitch. No more happy holidays. We celebrate Christmas on here. Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.
Next year come, I try to see the same thing. They got us brainwashed up, and when you find it ain't no Santa, Christmas still mean a lot. Cause it's the time to get together and give all you got. You got food, good moods, and what's better than together with your people. Square wishes, give a toast by the tree. It's Merry Christmas.
Because you might get shot.
And that's exactly how we're going to start out the show, by saying Merry Christmas to everybody. Not doing the happy holidays nonsense that the politically correct culture preaches. We're not doing that. We are not doing that tonight. Merry Christmas to everybody. There is this war on Christmas, whether you want to agree with it or not, whether you want to accept it or not. There is definitely a war on Christmas. And Merry Christmas to everybody. And as you can tell, the lefty Kelvin Gravely disagrees. So, Kelvin, why do you disagree that there is a war on Christmas? Why do you feel this way?
Because we are in America, dude, the home of consumerism and commercialism, and they want you to get out and spend money. There is no way that there's a war on Christmas or any other holiday for that fact. They want you to celebrate it, so you get out and buy stuff, give money to the economy, to these individual businesses. So no, I think it's ridiculous. And the wording
that's why the war is only coming from the left, because all the communists are on the left. The communists are not liking this capitalism. They're not liking this consumerism that is going on, and they're the ones that are waging the war on Christmas. You have to. I understand that you are a lefty yourself. You believe in socialism, but you have to agree that there has been a little bit of a hatred towards the holiday of Christmas, and even Christians themselves. You have to admit this.
No, I do not have to, man. I want you to know that, yes, I usually agree with leftists, but that does not mean I am a full-blown socialist. What in the world? I'm from America where we practice
Well, you have told me
capitalism.
multiple times that you believe in socialism.
No, I said that I agree with socialist principles enacted in a capitalist economy like we currently have. So that's completely different. It's still a capitalist economy. It just has socialist principles in it. There's nothing wrong with looking out for society as a whole. And I don't think that has anything to do with Christmas at all. I mean, including more people into the festivities would be better for business in my eye. You got more people going out and spending. So I don't think America's at war with anything that has to do with spending money at all.
Brighton, what is your opinion on the war on Christmas?
It's really more of a cultural thing, and it's a shift away from being a Christian and like traditionally white. Christmas is a very German thing. It's a very white thing. So it's really saying, "Oh, happy holidays" instead of "Merry Christmas." It's a subtle way to say, "Listen here, you're not supposed to believe in God or anything like that." And it's funny, Kelvin, that you would say you agree with you want capitalism, but you agree with socialistic tendencies, and there's nothing wrong with looking out for society as a whole. What if that society was white and maybe German and wore a lot of Hugo Boss? Because what you described was National Socialism.
No, not National Socialism at all. More of a democratic socialism, say what Bernie Sanders practiced. Okay, it's totally different. I mean, I'm not looking out for one group in out of the bunch. I'm looking out for everybody. So anybody that's not getting by because they have unequal opportunities, that's the person you need to help out. It doesn't matter what their color is or their ethnicity is. I don't care. It just matters that they need help and the country is able to help them. I mean, if you're a Christian, you should be looking out for the poor. Ain't that what Jesus says?
Yeah, and hey, that's a thing that I like to do to the best of my ability, without the state telling me to do it. I mean, you can't force people to be altruistic.
Well,
I do what I can. I think we all do.
That's an argument, though, because, I mean, basically taxes, I hear a lot from my libertarian friends that taxation is, and I mean, really, taxes is paying for all these government programs as is. Your roads, your schools, your libraries, the military, all of that's paid for by everybody, whether you want to or not. And actually, if you don't want to, then the IRS is going to come and lock you up. So, really, you have no choice in the matter.
Yeah. No, I'm aware. Does that seem fair?
What's that?
Does that seem fair to you?
That's a different debate. I mean, that's tough, man. I don't have an issue with taxes. I do think that some of them can be a bit extreme, but I think for the most part, it's not bad for the community to pay into services that everybody benefits from.
Sure, but what if I don't want everybody to benefit from them? Just like not everybody doesn't want me to benefit from things.
Well, I mean,
that's why they're taking Christmas away, and they're saying, let's say Happy Holidays, and let's take it away from God even, and do a big consumerist thing and make a Pepsi commercial all the time.
Well, realistically, if you didn't like it, you didn't like the government of your area, then you're free to move. I mean, they don't have sales taxes
really?
in Oregon.
Are there?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of places that you can really go, especially as a white person. Let's say you don't want to participate in any of this. Where are you going to go? I mean, maybe, you could go out to Wyoming or something, but even there, it doesn't get their own trouble. So there's really not anywhere you can go. I mean, there's there's always that argument, but there's only really so much that can be done.
I don't have an answer for you there. I really don't.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to this, because a lot of people, ever since I have joined with New Media Central, a lot of people have been asking me, who is this Bryden Proctor guy who keeps posting on all of your Facebook posts all of these racial derogatory terms, or however you want to call them. Now, Bryden he will admit it. He has publicly admitted that he is a racist. He does not care what you think about it. He is a white nationalist, and he is a member of the alt-right. He will tell you this, that he does not care what you think. So that's one of the reasons of why he is so blunt in his posts, because he doesn't care how you see him. But Bryden, go ahead and explain, because it's a little bit more complex than you're just a racist. It's a little bit more complex than just labels. Explain people your views about your white nationalism, why you're a part of the alt-right, and everything surrounding that realm.
It is... I'm trolling these idiots on Twitter just to get a reaction out of them, because I know they're not very smart. But The alt-right's a collection of, you've got identitarians, white nationalists, there's some, even national socialists to a certain degree, just a lot of people. It's a white identity movement, is what it is. And I think that race is very important, and race matters, and our identity is very, very important, and our identity matters. And I see what's happening to white people and how we're repeatedly treated like shit. We're being outbred. We're losing our country to mass migration. And I saw this and thought, holy crap, I've been wrong my entire life. And, just every day I grow fonder for my people, and I encourage everybody to do the same. I think all people deserve their own countries. I mean, it's not fair that that black people have to put up with white people. I think everybody should get their own areas, and just, hey, build a little society there, bud, and we'll just leave each other alone. Because when you get different types of people together, it's not going to end up with holding hands and singing Kumbaya. I mean, I really wish that it would, and eventually, probably somewhere way down the line, it'll be easier to get people to do that. But in the meantime, I mean, how many people need to die as we just, at the altar of this false god that is, like diversity, it doesn't lead to equality. It doesn't. And it just leads to a lot of tension. So it's bad. And that's the conclusion I've come to.
Now, let me ask your opinion about this, Bryden. As you had told me the other day to ask Kelvin about what 4 Black Lives Matter cases he was going to bring into the show, and when I asked him about that earlier today, Kelvin said, and this is verbatim, quote unquote, "Oh yeah, I was going to tell you we do that next week. The point is to educate. John's stubborn, but with an admitted racist, it really wouldn't be worthwhile at all." What are your thoughts on that?
I don't really think that I don't really even think that I'm racist. It's just easier when somebody says, "Oh yeah, well you're a racist," to go, "Yep, okay, but what about these crime statistics here?" Because statistics can't be racist. It's just a lot easier to go, "Yeah, okay, sure," when somebody calls you a racist or something like that, because they're just trying to derail a conversation. The term racist was made by Trotsky, the damn Tommy. And it's just to derail things, and that's stupid. So when somebody calls me a racist, of course I'm just going to go, "Yeah, sure, okay, definitely." I've got friends of mine that I've known that are non-white, but largely my friends are white people because I just prefer their company and always have, even before I was aware of this. So I don't think it's exactly fair to call me a racist unless you're arguing with me, and then I'm just going to say sure. And then you tend to scare the crap out of people, as you saw on the Facebook there. They're like, "You're racist." I'm like, fuck yeah. Get them mad because they don't know what to do. That's supposed to be the end of it.
And you are friends with a black nationalist, correct? Like, you are legit friends with a black nationalist. I mean, that is just crazy. Now, Kelvin actually brought up some history about this because I'd actually brought this up to him, and he had brought up a little history lesson that I found pretty interesting. Kelvin, what was you said that history has done this before? Or,
yeah, there's actually a
explain
case in the 1930s. One of the most prominent black nationalists of the time, a guy named Marcus Garvey, he actually met with the KKK, and I mean on positive terms, because they both agreed on one point, that they wanted segregation in the United States. So they found common ground, and I mean I don't agree with either of them, but they were on good terms because of this shared interest. You know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty interesting to see it in a historical perspective.
Yeah.
Now, Bryden, I just saw your comment on Facebook when you said that you're not that extreme.
No.
Some of the stuff that you post on Facebook can be a bit extreme at times. So how do you want people to see you?
Oh, I don't care how they see me. I don't care about their opinions. I'm not going to change their mind. It's not my job to change their mind. It is my job to get drunk and try to instigate things and get more people coming to the site and going, "What the hell is going on over here?" And then it's like, "Ha ha, got you again." But like I have no problem with blacks or anything as a whole. I just think they commit a bunch of crime. and reality's on my side for this. So,
I mean, it's
they
statistically
fine,
they do.
you know.
I mean, that's a statistical fact. I mean, you can't even
Still
argue
want to live with them.
But let me play this video from MTV. I want to get you guys. This is one of the first things that I wanted to hop into for the night. Of MTV, the white hate is well and alive out here. And I understand what some of these Black Lives Matter people say. Well, our lives matter. Well, first off, like, nobody said your life didn't matter. That is you applying that your life does matter. Now, before we even get into that, caller, you're on the air. Caller? Going once? Going twice? All right, you're gone.
Oh.
But this is the MTV video from white hate, or from MTV, and it's obvious white hate.
It's about to be a new year, and there's a few things we think you could do a little bit better in 2017.
First off, try to recognize that America was never great for anyone who wasn't a white guy.
Can we all just agree that Black Lives Matter isn't the opposite of All Lives Matter? Black lives just matter. There's no need to overcomplicate it.
Also, Blue Lives Matter isn't a thing. Cops weren't born with blue skin, right? I mean, yeah, they weren't born blue.
Stop bragging about being woke. Stop saying woke.
Learn what mansplaining is, and then stop doing it.
Oh, and if you're a judge, don't prioritize the well-being of an Ivy League athlete over the woman he assaulted. We all love Beyonce, and yeah, she's black, so of course she cares about black issues. I'm talking to you, Fox News.
Feel free to take Kanye West, though. You guys can have him.
You know what you did, Kanye.
Nobody who has black friends says that they have black friends.
And just because you have black friends doesn't mean you're not racist. You can be racist with black friends.
Look, guys, we know nobody's perfect.
But honestly, you could do a little better in 2017.
Some of you guys do a great job. Some of you don't.
Please, because 2016 is bad. 2017 can't be worse than this, all right? Because this is bad.
All right, so that was the video from the MTV. Blatant. I mean, it's a good way to lose ratings. Problem is, I highly doubt that MTV has any young conservative viewers because the conservatives are way too intelligent to be watching MTV. So maybe it won't hurt their ratings. We all know how leftists have a bit of an ignorance to them.
Well, they took that video down like 4 days after they posted it, so I guess they're getting some backlash.
Well, of course they would get some backlash. I mean, why is it smart business, Kelvin, to isolate white people, some of the biggest consumers in the world, statistically?
I mean, yeah, the country is majority white, so they're going to be a majority of the people spending the money. It makes sense. However, I don't really see it as being racist in effect. I mean, it seems to be truthful. Well, the first three lines I thought were really truthful. The rest of it I didn't care too much about. I did like the part where they said that the judge shouldn't let rapists go free because of sports or something along those lines. And I'm not saying that the guy should have got 100 million years in jail, but he got 3 months in jail for raping somebody and while she was passed out on the side of the street, and that was okay because he was a swimmer. I'm like, that's not okay in any way. I mean, I'm not saying
but
black
what
people
about
should
what
get
about
3
what
months.
about what about the black Oklahoma football player who hit a blonde white woman and didn't receive any jail time? This is not just a white thing.
Well, see, I haven't heard about that case, but most of the cases you expect a rapist to get time in jail.
Why are you making an opinion overall on white people when you don't know all of the cases?
I'm not.
It's like some of these BLM cases you say, oh, well, no justice ever gets served, but a lot of these officers have been fired and charged.
But look, if you kill somebody and you get fired, that is not equal. Okay, you have killed somebody. They're not alive to fight their case. They are dead. There is no tomorrow for them. You just lost your job. That means you can go elsewhere to get another job, which is what they normally do. So, no, that's not equality,
But let me ask you this question, though. About what it all boils down to. Why commit a crime in the first place to put yourself in that situation? And why not just comply with the officer? Why make it worse by fighting him back or giving him an attitude?
If you look at police training most of the time, well, as they should, there is no crime about giving an attitude. Usually people are in high-stress situations when they're dealing with the police to begin with. So the police officer should be trained to handle a person's seeming attitude. The only thing that should be an offense would be a crime. So if a person is getting an attitude with you, that is not a crime. Okay, that's absurd to begin with. But I'm just saying equal justice. So don't think that I'm saying that a black person who commits a rape should get off scot-free just like that white guy did. I'm saying that everybody should get the book thrown at them because rape is bad, like without a doubt. There is no questioning. There should not be a debate about this. Like, it's not good, you know?
There's
That's
not
my
a
only
debate.
thing.
There's not a debate about this, and I don't know where you're getting the idea that there is. Everyone says rape is bad. Nobody is walking
Except
around
that,
going, dude, I totally just raped that bitch. Nobody's doing that.
Have you noticed that the judge let him off after 3 months because
that's
because he
judge.
said that his well, I know, but that counts. There's
that's
no
one instance. That's
the
one
judge.
That doesn't mean that
But
people
the
are
judge
saying,
is
"Woo, rape, great," or that this
but
is a
you
reflection
realize,
of white people. You know what is a reflection of really coming down to race? 1 in 3 rapes are black dudes. They're raping at a disproportionate rate. So hey, you know what? It's either that or you gotta
okay, but how many?
Be upset about the incarceration rate. You know, this is
the
one
judge
instance, and it's not even a good reflection of
right. But you realize that the judge is in a position of power. Do you not understand that? He did not only try that one case in his time on the bar. He has been on the bar for years, I can go ahead and guarantee, because to be a judge, you have to have been a lawyer for some time. And I guarantee that was not his first case that he's ever tried.
So take it up with the judge. You know, take it up with the judge. Don't act like this is a mass epidemic. Like this is.
Well, the thing is,
the judge is a dick. I agree.
Most federal judges are on the bench for life, so it's kind of difficult to take it up with him. You know, and be like, I'm not gonna vote for you next time. Well, it doesn't matter. He's not getting voted for.
You know, the people are mad at that judge. You can't just cherry pick one thing and then throw it in the video, and that's what MTV did, and that's what made it so stupid. It's a completely retarded video, and I feel bad for the black guy in it because they were like, "Hey, why don't you just be a stereotype?" Like it's really bad.
I noticed the same thing. I noticed the exact same thing. Kelvin, why is that? Why did they push him as a stereotype?
I didn't even catch that. What was stereotypical about him? I wasn't paying attention to that.
Oh, man, the Yo's. The Yo's. Oh, of course he's going to be for Black Lives Matter because they're black. Oh, okay.
What? I mean, I didn't see an issue with it.
The thing at the end was like, because this is bad. 2017 can't be worse. This is bad. It's like, dude, oh my God, no, he looked like such just like that token guy that would be like, the best friend sidekick in one of these movies with beautiful white people in it.
I mean, maybe he was just charismatic dude. I didn't say, man, he's charismatic because he's black. I didn't make that connection at all. Like, I just saw him being a guy who spoke differently than the rest. I mean, not everybody's the same person. I didn't make that connection, guys. I'm sorry.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to this caller. Caller, you're on the air. Caller, going once.
Man.
Going twice.
Wow.
All right, he's gone. That's the
It's
second
illegal.
time
It was like confused. They didn't have to press 2 for Spanish.
All right, so Kelvin, you have seen Bryden on my post. When you see Bryden's post, what is your view?
Okay, well, originally I thought that he was just a hateful racist. But then, on some backstory from you, I was like, man, this guy's saying a lot of controversial stuff in quick succession. It looks like he's just looking for attention because they used to tell me.
No, I believe this, you dumb fuck, because it's real.
Okay. Well, they used to tell me that for children, they'll act out because to them, bad attention is better than no attention. And, I mean, you're just saying all this stuff in quick succession, looking for response, looking for reaction. So to me, it just looks like you want attention. You're thirsting for attention. And,
I don't really give a shit what you think I'm looking for.
Considering that you're asking my opinion.
And pissing people off, calling them niggers and stuff is just fun. because I really don't care about these people. It's funny because I see so much anti-white rhetoric that it's fun to throw some back, just because I know that they're already like concerned about the course of the country, and it's funny to go, oh, yeah, you should feel bad about this, because maybe they'll start to read about it a little bit more. Maybe they aren't out there committing crimes or things like that. But even just this cunt the other day, she's got, 3 kids from 2 different guys, and she looks like she's, 22. Like, come on. Those people should be shamed and made to feel bad.
Wow. Yeah. It seems like an attention-seeking thing to me. I mean, that's just really... I've seen a lot of people who are young that have children. I don't understand how it's a black thing.
Yeah, from Jamal and Tyrone. Come on, chill out. You don't know what you're talking about here, bud. But
okay. Wow.
Here's the thing. No, that's another leftist tactic. Is used to dismiss people that these views are just so much different than what I've been taught. Oh, he must be just dicking around. I will tell you, I'm not really a hateful dude. I say hateful things. I love hate facts. But, if you don't agree with me, which you clearly don't, personally, I think you talk like a fag and your shit's all retarded. But I agreed to come onto the show because I like Andrew, and it's my network.
Oh.
So wait. So if you want to try to dismiss this as anything other than what it is,
wait. Aren't you the gay one? Aren't you gay, though?
Yeah.
So I'm talking like a fag, but you're actually gay. I'm confused here. Why?
I'm confused here too.
Why is there so much self-hate? So you hate white people.
Where did you pick it up?
Take it back. You hate black people.
You might be a little happier if you started taking it in the bum there, bud.
Wow.
Maybe
so you hate black people.
But
look, you hate black people, Jewish people, Muslims, and you also hate yourself for being gay. I don't understand, man. Like, why is all this hate everywhere? Why?
Why do you call it hate? It's just true. And words are not hate. There's only a couple things that are actually racist or hateful, and that's denying someone a job that they're clearly qualified for because of their ethnicity or religion or something like that. And the other one is going, hey, he's black, get him. Those things are racist. Outside of that, words can't be. Giving facts can't be. But, you imply that I hate myself because I'm not totally in love with the homosexual community. I'm a gay guy, but I'm not a faggot. And I'm not one of these queens. And I can't stand these fags. I go over to West Hollywood and I go, wow, you give us all a bad name. But you, have a low testosterone count, and you talk like a fag and your shit's all retarded.
Wow. All right. I don't know what to say to that, Andrew. I have no comeback for that. Wow.
Here's the thing about it. The left bullies consistently. Kelvin, you must agree with this because you are consistent with the name calling sometimes in the debates. I've told you this before. All Brighton is doing is using a leftist tactic, but more harsh. That's literally all he's doing. He's flipping the left tactics on them. That's what he's doing.
But the thing is, I understand what you're saying, but I don't recall myself using insults to start of any debate. I mean, the farthest you could say I went is saying Uncle Tom, and then I asked you the definition, and you couldn't give me a definition.
You did
so
say,
how do you know it's bad?
You did say how N-word. You did
you
say
can
this.
say Uncle Tom.
I said what?
You said what, Brighton?
Are you there?
Oh, I said you can't go around saying Uncle Tom. You know it's bad. You know black people get mad about it, even though they use it to describe black people. It's their word. They're the ones that use that. They say Uncle Tom and tune to somebody that isn't the right kind of black, like Kanye West. I love checking out Black Twitter because it's amazing how they just turn on their own instantly.
Wow. Wow.
Kelvin doesn't even know what to say to this.
Yeah, because truthfully, it doesn't apply to me at all. I mentioned it one time in conversation with Drew when we were talking about I think you were talking about a black white supremacist, and you didn't even know what Uncle Tom meant when I asked you the definition. So how do you know that it's this ultra negative thing if you don't have the history on it? That was my thing about it. Like I'm telling
Kelvin,
you that you needed to know.
Since you keep assuming that I do not know what an Uncle Tom is, enlighten us of what an Uncle Tom is and why you use the terminology. Go ahead and defend your intercultural racism.
Okay, well, actually the term comes from a book by Harriet Beecher Stowe. It was released in like 1850 or something like that. It was a long time ago. And actually in the book, Uncle Tom was actually a Jesus-like character, and he was actually martyred, killed for supporting two black women who had went against their master. And you know that just goes to show how the terminology can change over time. But originally, he was a good figure. And later on through time, it kind of adapted that negative connotation. And that's the definition of it, that a lot of people who use it don't even know. And that's what I was trying to get to you. Because you had called me a liberal, a Marxist, a socialist, and I asked you the definitions of those words as well. Because I was like, how can you use that word as an insult if you have no clue what it means? Like, that
but why
did
you automatically assume that I'm not? But how come every time I throw out a terminology, you automatically assume that I have no idea what I'm talking about? That's what I'm. And you always accuse me and John of anti-intellectualism. Like you're consistently throwing insults, and then when Brighton uses your tactics against you more harsh, you can't handle it. I'm trying to let you know that you are a leftist that is being bullied now because of years of bullying.
That is factually inaccurate, because at the beginning, when you called me those names, I asked
Kelvin, you feed into the white hate, and you hate black people who hate black people who disagree with you, but you call them racist names. You do.
No, listen. When you called me that name, I asked you, what does it mean? And I specifically said, in layman's terms. So to you, what does that word mean? So I could understand what you were trying to call me. And you could not give me an answer. That's how I knew that you didn't know what it meant.
I could not give you an answer. I have to go back and read this debate. I will have to go back and read this debate because I have no idea what you were referring to right now as far as me not giving an answer.
Please go back and look.
Go call the black guy Uncle Tom. See where it ends up. They're not going to go, well, shucks, actually, thank you. It's strange how the term changes over time. They're going to go, oh, fuck you, and lay into you.
Well, that's the thing.
Kelvin, let me ask you this. Why is it fair for you to call other black people by racist names, but when Bryden says racist names, he's automatically a racist? Why can you do it, but he can't? That's a little bit of a double standard.
Well, the thing is, I was saying it about a black person who is a white supremacist, okay? And that's kind of what the definition of the word has changed to mean nowadays. I'm not saying that about all black people. I'm not saying that just because that guy looks different,
only the ones
and
that
that's what he
disagree
is.
with you.
I said
only
he's
the
a
ones
white
that disagree
supremacist.
with you.
White supremacist. That's an important part of that word right there. White supremacist. So if he is a white supremacist, he's going against his self-interest. He's going against himself. Then it will fit him. If the shoe fits.
That's really not true at all. Now, I'm not a supremacist myself, and most people are not. Like, this whole white supremacist thing gets thrown around, but you know what a white supremacist is? A white supremacist is someone that would go, all right, so we need to own these people. We need to lord over them and rule over these people because we're better. They call Richard Spencer a white supremacist. He's not. He's a separatist. I'm a separatist. Now, if some black person who goes, hey, you know who's great at building society? Europeans. That doesn't mean that they are a black white supremacist. They go, Europeans build really good societies, and holy shit, we got to do something about all these crimes that blacks are committing. Kind of inclined to agree with the guy, but it's thrown around all the time. Black cops are coon, high yellow, Uncle Tom, and all of this. So Uncle Tom is a term that people wouldn't like. So I'm not surprised that you would use it, though. I'm really not. I just use them casually because I don't have to hide behind this veil of like, oh, I love everybody so much. That's the hypocrisy of the left, and that's why you failed, and that's why you've been failing over the, past 4 years, it's been gradually really going down and then plummeted. You're not in control anymore. Your ideas don't work, and they're on their way out for good. It's kind of beautiful because you can't see your own fucking racism.
Well, the thing is, white supremacy does not imply ownership. It implies that the person thinks that whites are supreme, as in there is a supremacy in their race, as in white people can do better than black people from birth with no training whatsoever. So it does not need ownership. Doesn't need ownership whatsoever.
Bullshit.
I mean,
who would know this more?
Dude, look it up. Look at the word. White supremacist. Supremacy of whites. It's a pretty easy breakdown right there.
It implies ruling. It implies ruling.
It implies that you think that white people are better from birth. There is no merit involved. You don't need to prove yourself. You just need to be white. That's what it means.
Certain things.
You can go ahead and look it up right now.
Oh,
please look it up.
Go ahead and look it up right now. Why don't you look up what racism actually means? There's two definitions, one that's true and one that's not, because simply noting the differences between the races is somehow under the definition of racism. It's not. I mean, listen, buddy, I know your little echo chamber over there is a lot different than mine, but, I would, I think I would know more about that, seeing as how it's thrown around just every single day. I get called a white supremacist. All of my friends do, and it's just simply untrue. So it's funny that you want to go on and on about words. The thing is, Uncle Tom is a bad thing to say, and you've just kind of backpedaled away from that and gone on to the white supremacy thing. I give it at least 40 minutes before you call me a Nazi.
Wrong. I told you if the shoe fits, then that's what it is. So it doesn't matter what you think about it. If the shoe fits.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. This is why you don't sell shoes.
What?
Over your head, faggot.
Wow, all right. So that should... Okay, so you realize the difference between the word I said and the word that you said, right? Your word has no basis in fact whatsoever.
Let's go ahead and put a break on this. Ben Castle, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, so this is Ben Castle, Republican Town Council President from the state of Indiana. And by the way, we do thank you for joining the show. And how are you doing on this Christmas Eve night, Mr. Castle?
Well, really good. I just got back from my sister's. We had Christmas here with our kids. So one more Christmas tomorrow, and then we're done. So,
So let me ask you this question, because for the first 40 minutes of the show, we've pretty much been discussing white nationalism, black nationalism, white supremacy, this thing going on with this MTV video about race, and there's a lot of white
sexuality.
Yeah, there's just a lot. What is your opinion on all the racial tension going on throughout our country right now?
I think it's gotten worse, and I'm not going to say worse because of Trump. Actually, when I voted, just so you guys know, I am a conservative Republican, voted for Reagan on his second term, but I did vote for Obama when he first ran because I thought he had a better handle than McCain. And I actually thought race was like getting improved. But I think it's steadily gotten worse. I think it's gotten worse under the last 4 years of Obama than it has with the Donald Trump thing. Man, we're all one race. We're the human race. There should be black, white, tan, brown, whatever. We all should actually, like Rodney King said, try to get along.
Who did you vote for in this election? In the 2016 election, who did you vote for?
I voted for Trump, and
so you voted.
The reason I did was, I am conservative. Am I happy with everything Trump says? No. But with Clinton, I couldn't vote for her. I just thought she was a very corrupt politician. To be honest, Trump was lucky that Bernie Sanders didn't run.
Wow, right on, man. I've been saying for a while that Hillary was the cause of Trump's winning, in a lot of ways. And I'm glad to see that, conservatives and even some liberals can agree with that.
Well, it's just how I feel about it. And I've talked to a lot of friends that were, they said the same thing, that Trump really dodged a bullet when the DNC chose Hillary.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Kelvin.
Oh, I was just going to agree with him. I mean, I've been saying this for the past few weeks on the show.
Yeah, but Kelvin, it's your turn in rotation.
Oh, for the question. Oh, okay, my bad. Oh, okay, my bad. I totally missed that. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I've been saying the same thing on the show, but I did have a couple of questions. And these are pretty long questions. I think they're two-part questions. Let's see. The first one was, I'm not sure what part of the state you're from, but was your area affected?
Northern Indiana.
Okay, was this affected by the carrier deal that Trump and Pence were a part of?
I think Huntington was another part of the carrier place, and they actually are still losing their jobs. And Huntington's about an hour and 20 minutes away from where I live, south of me. And Indianapolis is about 2.5 hours south. But the Huntington plants, they're still losing. And, you know, they still have lost some in Indianapolis. But the way it was, I mean, honestly, if Trump or somebody hadn't stepped up to the plate, they were all going to lose their jobs.
Yeah. So that's wild to hear, though. Well, looking at it objectively, do you think it's a dangerous precedent, you know, for the president to make the governments kind of have this influence directly on individual businesses? Like, is it contrary to the normal conservative ideal of free market economics?
Personally, I mean, like, I've been only having to deal with this for 9 years, being on town council, and it's just through tax abatements. But we give tax abatements to cause a business to want to grow, to hopefully retain employees and to maybe hire more. So if you look at it like that, the government is still kind of stepping in to influence jobs.
But overall, do you think that the government's probably making out more from it than what they're putting in? Like, it's a profitable exchange?
I honestly think that, I don't think that the government's truly, like, making out. They're just keeping jobs here. I think NAFTA was a horrible deal. Like Trump says, it sucked. We lost a lot of places. I know my mom, my sister, and my brother-in-law lost their jobs because their plant moved to Mexico, and it was right after NAFTA was signed. So, you know, I think it's just something that we have to do to try to bring jobs back to the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are good jobs, too, high-paying jobs. Well, thank you for answering my questions.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for asking.
And Bryden, you're up next, man.
Yeah, I had a couple questions for you. Obviously, you've seen the rise in far-right identitarian politics throughout Europe and the U.S. Richard Spencer is all over the news now. With millennials kind of coming in droves to my way of thinking, we are starting to kind of think this type of thing will be the new Republican Party. Where do the old conservatives stand on this? And I know it even at your cocktail parties, the alt-right comes up. What's your general view at first of it?
Well, man, I'm 51 years old, so I guess I'm getting into the old Republican Party. But I think the alt-right, I think they're a bunch of jackasses, to be honest. I mean, you got the people that are, like, taking it so far one way. I mean, we have to write a happy medium. I call myself conservative, but I do have some, moderate views on some things. I'm not so far to one side, that I can't see the other. But I see the same with liberal Democrats that are so far left that it's not jiving either. So, I'm actually hoping the alt-right's not something that's the way we're going.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. And you ought to hear what we call you. You call yourself conservative. We call you something else. But
that's fine, man. I mean, I'm conservative, as far as being fiscally conservative. Like when we do our town council budget, we don't spend any more than we have to. We try not to raise taxes if we don't have to. We don't hire as a town any more people than we have to hire. But I consider myself moderate as far as maybe some social issues, like gay marriage. It doesn't affect me. My nephew's gay, and if he wants to be married to a guy, hey, so what? It's his life. It's not mine. If he's happy, he's happy. Abortion, I don't agree with abortion, but if it came down to, at the time when my wife was, pregnant with her children, if I had to say I have to terminate the baby to save her, then I'm going to save her. I think there are things that government needs to stay out of.
Hey, I can absolutely
but I
agree
think
with that.
with conservatives, our biggest problem when it comes to abortion is people like Lena Dunham, who say that they blatantly wish that they had an abortion. They blatantly wish that they could murder babies. That's the problem that we have with abortion.
Mm-hmm.
That comes back to ceding ground, though, and that's something that I think the alt-right's very important for. Is we do win no matter what. We are mobilizing, activating throughout the entire planet and trying to save our country. The old school conservatives, it seems to me, and I'm telling you from a younger person's point of view, it seems to me all you guys have done is cede ground and lose on issues like gay marriage and abortion and all of this. We'll get a little bit more government, and we'll get them next time, champ. And
I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I'll get them next time. That's. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss or anything on your show or not.
You are.
You heard me 5 minutes ago. Yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Okay, that's awesome. Because I'm going to tell you something. It's bullshit that the protesters after the election, some of the things they were doing. Why weren't they arrested? I consider that as domestic terrorism. When they're out breaking windows, plugging up traffic, acting like a bunch of jackasses, they should have all been arrested. There are things that I don't agree with. That's like old school. Hey, we got to do this to get by. I don't. Flag burning, I don't agree with that. I think that's. I would have my son's a police officer, and I asked him. I said, "What would you do in the little town of Albion where he's at? What would you do if you saw someone burning the flag?" He goes, "I couldn't do anything about burning the flag." He goes, "I can do something about them publicly burning something." But he doesn't like it. And I don't either. My dad served, so it's still a disrespect for anybody that's got anybody in the military.
Do you think that Trump should make burning the flag illegal? Would you agree with something like this?
I do. I think it should be illegal. I think it's a total disrespect. I think what Colin Kaepernick did by not standing during the pledge, or the national anthem, I think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
If I was a team owner, I would say, hey, you suck anyway, so you're definitely not playing, but I'm going to cut your ass.
When you bring up Colin Kaepernick, an interesting question for you. Can you please explain to me how black oppression exists when somebody can be a horrible quarterback and sit on the bench and make $19 million a year? Can you please explain to me how that's black oppression?
Dude, I have no idea. I was all for Colin Kaepernick. Hey, man, he deserves a shot. He's going through a bad time. And when he did that, I thought, well, no, wait a minute. You suck ass, and yet you're still acting like this. That's bullshit. There's other ways to make a point. Look at Martin Luther King. He didn't do anything, I don't think, disrespectful. He just brought attention to something, but I thought he did it a really good way. I don't agree with Kaepernick's stance on things, and I don't know, man. There's just a lot of shit that I don't agree with.
Kelvin?
No, I agree with the fiscal conservativity portion of it because, just the gay marriage and the abortion thing, speaking strictly from a spending left perspective, I never really understood how conservatives could want more government intervention in those areas. So it is interesting to hear from a conservative that doesn't believe in that because he's a true fiscal conservative. I do have a little bit different take on Kaepernick and Martin Luther King, but I think overall we agree on most of the grounds. So I don't have any issues. I actually enjoyed hearing you speak. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bryden?
Yeah, I just had another question regarding the far right here, because we do look at the old conservatives. We didn't like George W. Bush either.
I didn't either.
we didn't like that guy either. We thought he was a buffoon and an idiot, and he didn't care about this. Just didn't know what he was doing. He's a neocon,
Exactly.
So with the obvious death of the neocons, I mean, you've got a few clingers there, like McCain and what have you. But they're going out. They're on their way out.
Exactly.
What are you going to do when we actually do start to take over? Clearly, Donald Trump wore the Republican Party as a skin. He is not alt-right, but many of us who support Trump are. We will hold office. I mean, even Spencer is considering a run in Montana. You say we got to meet somewhere in the middle and compromise. Instead of going more to the middle, do you think you and yours may be a little more comfortable and a little freer to go back further to the right, towards traditionalism, which is a huge part of what we're about?
I definitely would. I'm just more comfortable on the right, but the thing is I believe we have to follow our Constitution. Everybody has rights. We have to push for that. I believe that our country, like Trump has said repeatedly, we have peace through strength. I agree with that. I agree. We have to take care of our veterans. We have to build our military, but we have to have jobs here to pay for those. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm just a little small town council member, but I can't see everything that Hillary was brought up. My daughter's in college right now, and she said she would love free college, but she's even smart enough to say somebody's paying for it. She goes, she wouldn't mind reduced college, help with tuition, but I think I brought my kids up right. Nothing's free. Somebody's paying for free.
Yeah. Well,
last
this is my last question. Yeah, sorry. I wanted to know your feelings on Russia and Mr. Vladimir Putin.
Okay. Okay. Definitely. I think we got to keep an eye on Putin and Russia. I guess they're kind of like Trump wants them to be our frenemies. The thing is, I think we could defeat ISIS a lot better with their help. But at the same token, I can understand, Trump saying, hey, we got to build up our nuclear capabilities. Reagan, I just saw a thing on Fox News. Reagan said the same thing and was, said he was going to build that up, and it kind of caused Russia to be in check. I think that's how we have to be with them. We have to say, yeah, we're going to work with you. We don't need to be enemies all the time, but we're going to keep our damn eye on you.
Last question, we'll go ahead and get you out of here, Ben. As far as Donald Trump's presidency is concerned, what are your top 3 requests of what you would like to see Donald Trump do in his first 100 days as president?
Like to see him do something about our jobs. He needs to, actually, he's going to throw out NAFTA, then do the damn thing. Don't do the Trans-Pacific, get rid of that. He's got to get rid of Obamacare. I don't know about anybody else, but my insurance costs are going through the freaking roof. And then he's actually got to strengthen our. Yeah, he's got to strengthen our military. I mean, we've been the biggest pusses around for about the last 8 years. I mean, I hate to say that because I've got family that's in the Marines and the Army right now, but their hands are tied. We need to have our soldiers be able to do their jobs, to be able to be compensated for their work, know that they're going to be taken care of here when they're out, and that they need to have the equipment to get the job done.
Ben Castle, Republican Town Council President from the state of Indiana. We do appreciate you joining the show, sir.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
You too,
yes,
man.
Sir.
Goodbye, Ben.
All right, so, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, this is John.
John, my man John.
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
Hey, I just wanted to call and wish everyone a Merry Christmas and thank all of our listeners and all of our guests and everything. But that's all. I'm just calling in to say that.
Merry Christmas, John.
Well,
all right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Where was that last caller from? In Indiana.
He said the northern part of the
Republican
state.
Town Council president.
Yeah, but what part of Indiana?
He was north. I know, that's all I know.
Yeah, I believe he said northern Indiana.
Yeah, because he said the only part in Indiana that affected him was the Huntington area.
Oh,
as far as
okay.
that carrier deal. Yeah, as far as the carrier deal, that's all that affected him.
Sure, gotcha. Yeah, that's a completely different country from where I'm at in Indiana. No, he's just a little bit up north from me. All right, well, I just wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Have a good show.
All right, John, Merry Christmas. Thanks for calling, man.
Merry Christmas to you.
I'll talk to you later. Hey, this Kelvin guy's a fag, by the way. No, I was hoping he was going to hear me.
Joining us in about 20 minutes, Mary Kalaf. Mary Kalaf, I believe is how you say it, Republican politician from the state of Utah. She's a Muslim woman who voted for Donald Trump. She is a member of the Republican Party. She is very conservative. Now, Kelvin, you were really, really confused when I told you about this interview because you are a victim of identity politics. Why do you have such a hard time understanding why not everybody would fall into identity politics?
You know, I don't want to necessarily call it identity politics. I'm just thinking that you said she was a Muslim woman, and you know, with all of the negative from Trump and his supporters against Muslims, it just seemed like it was going against her own self-interest to vote for such a person. So I wouldn't call it identity. I would just say that self-interest. It just doesn't work in my eyes. So I'd like to hear her take on that.
See, this is what I'm saying when I say your shit's all retarded. Because you're going to sit here, me, I don't like Muslims. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't. There's Muslims for Trump, absolutely, because a lot of them are, even the gas station owners. I frequent this place all the time to get cigarettes. They're Muslims. They're great guys. I would like them to not be around. They still make me go, okay, but they voted for Trump. Now, when I put people into boxes, I do it for scientific, genetic reasons or ideological choices. Because at the core of you are your race. That is your identity. Whether you like it or not, you're part of a race. Now, whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, things like that, that's an elected identity. But when you put people into boxes, you say, they're voting against their self-interest. That's liberal white girl syndrome, trying to speak for everybody else. There's a small percentage of Muslims that are extreme ways of governance, and she is clearly one of them. And it is identity politics. The only difference is what I'm doing is like identity politics. So there's really not much of a difference. We all have to play identity politics. They're not going away. But you put people into boxes and then claim that you're not doing it, but they're voting against their interests. That's what's actually just kind of fucked up about it.
Okay, well, realize that your identity politics are not based on choice, right? So you don't choose whether you're black, white, whatever when you're born. That's just how it is. That is not in any way in your control. Whereas being a Muslim is something that would fall under your control because it's a choice. And also, I don't see how that isn't quite the same as saying that black people should vote for this person. I don't see how the skin color relates to your religion in the basis that Trump is anti-Muslim in a lot of ways, and she is Muslim, but she voted for Trump. Like I don't quite understand how you're trying to throw me in some category with a bunch of other people that I don't know there.
He's not anti-Muslim. Believe me, I wish he was. When people are like, "Oh, Donald Trump is anti this and that," and I'm like, "Listen, he's cool, but he's not that cool. All right." It's just not true. He's not anti-Muslim. He is anti-terrorism, and it just happens to be that most terrorists are Muslim these days and have been for a while. But that's still, it's an elected identity. I completely agree with that. But you don't know about the different types of Muslims that there are. There's a very small percentage. I mean, I wish it was, 80% of the world's Muslims are Sunni, and those are not the ones you want. But there's a very, very small portion that aren't down with Sharia and that type of thing. She probably happens to be one of them. And believe me, I'm going to have a lot of questions regarding Islam when it comes to this as well. But she would be, I don't know, what would you call it? Uncle Ahmed? I mean, because you think she's not voting in her interest? She doesn't like these terrorists any more than anybody else, obviously. It's still identity politics. It's putting people into this mold, or into this box, rather, and saying, well, they can't deviate from that. My way of thinking even admits there are always outliers. There are, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Holy cow. Like, he beat the odds. He beat genetics, and he's a pretty smart dude. Charismatic as well. All of my black friends beat the odds. They don't have that average IQ of 85. I admit outliers, but when the left says, hey, this is an outlier, they say, oh, well, they're just voting against their interests. They and Uncle Tom. That's the difference. I allow for outliers.
No, I'm not saying it's impossible. I mean, the fact that you're a gay Republican, that's an outsider in yourself. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying I don't understand her reason for supporting who she does. That's why I said that I would like to hear her take on it. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
That'd be great. I mean, I don't think it's going to change your mind at all because you can.
No, definitely not.
I don't think we're here to change minds. That's what I'm saying when I say the shit's all retarded. We're a lot similar. Look at horseshoe theory. We're a lot more similar than you think.
I put up a post yesterday on Facebook with a list that said that white people, dear white haters, and it listed several things of what white people had created, like electricity and the telephone and the internet and all this different stuff. And at the end of the post, it said, "We don't need you, you need us." Now, I already knew what kind of lashback it was going to receive. Somebody ended up reporting it, and it got removed from Facebook. It was a whole thing. And all I literally said on the post was, well, that escalated dramatically. Kelvin then calls me a racist. Ronwin then calls me a racist. There's multiple people who had called me a racist. Now, Brighton, you had came into the middle of this and said that it's not racist, it's true. So do you care to elaborate more on this?
To me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, it's not racist. It's true. Facts can't be racist. That's why we have something called hate facts, is because they're things that are true that do make people uncomfortable. And, all of this, like, oh, yeah, we was Kang up until the white man came and stole up all our inventions, it's simply untrue. It's just not true. Europeans are good at inventing things. We're not very good at other things. For instance, even just like keeping up with the birth rate. We have, we're less fertile than Arabs and Africans. Asians are even less fertile than Europeans. We're good at different stuff. We have different ways of thinking, and therefore built different cultures and had different inventions and things like that. It is true, because if you want to get on Twitter and do hashtag fuck white people, hey, guess what there, honey? It was the Asians and the whites that did that for you, Shaniqua. I hate to break it to you, and I agree that being a minority sucks, which is why I don't want it to happen to me. It sucks. I'd like them to live in a place where they're not. I think they could get a lot more accomplished. But to say that whites and Asians pretty much didn't just invent everything is pretty disingenuous. I mean, we got peanut butter? Congratulations. You've killed many children with peanut allergies. Which, to be fair, you have a peanut allergy. Who gives a shit? Your kid's weak and should die.
Oh, what an answer. Kelvin, now you had called me a racist for this post. Explain to me how I am a racist. Okay, you liked a post, which you were agreeing with somebody calling me a racist. You are
I
agreeing
like
with somebody called me
saying-
a racist, which basically means you were calling me a
I
racist.
think-
So explain to me,
I think-
how am I
Oh,
a
my
racist for making an observation?
So I think I liked a post where someone said that you were being extra racial today or something like that. I'm not sure if he used the
No, they
exact
called
word
me a
racist.
racist.
Oh, did it? Okay. All right, whatever. It don't matter. But basically, from what you said, remember what you said in the comment on that picture?
What, talking the wrong one?
No. In the original post, you posted like I think a sentence or two with the picture.
I said, well, that escalated dramatically. That's literally all
Right.
I said.
Exactly. So that's pretty vague. It's not clear that you were not in favor of the picture that you posted on your profile, that you had found in your free time on the internet on your search. So from my point of view, and probably from that of others, was that you agreed with the material that you posted.
Though it was not a search. This was a post that I had saw on my timeline while scrolling down. That is not a search.
Hey, brother, I mean, if it wasn't a shared post, you had posted that picture yourself. So my point is,
Kelvin,
I was
do that
unaware.
for all of my pictures. Look down my timeline, and you will see that I share all of my pictures.
Listen,
I do not share all of my pictures. They are all pictures that I take and upload myself.
Right. Listen, though. It is not aware to the reader or to the person viewing it that you don't agree with this stuff, because the comment you put with the picture did not disagree with it.
But what
it was pretty vague.
What did I say during the comment? Did you pay attention to the comments on the post though? When I had said multiple times that I even told Brighton, be real, it's racist as fuck. Did I say that, Brighton, true or false? I said, be real, it's racist as fuck. Did I say that, true or false?
Listen, it is not. Listen, when you post a picture, it is not my job to read every single comment underneath your picture.
And it is not my job to have to explain that I am not a racist. That is not my job.
Hey man,
that is your own stupidity for making an assumption. That's your fault.
No, it's not, because, listen, if you post a racist picture, why would you be upset that people think you're a racist? You did not post anything to the contrary of it until later on in the comments.
4 words, Kelvin.
Left the
I put up 4 words and said, well, that escalated dramatically, and now I'm a racist. Which does not say I disagree with this post that I am posting and not sharing.
But
I had said multiple times that I disagreed with the post. I even said this to Brighton.
Under the comment that I like.
Oh, dear God.
I don't patrol your post.
Correct.
I don't patrol your post. Why would I patrol your post hours after the fact? Why would I do that? That doesn't make sense. I see the post that you posted with nothing saying that you don't agree with it. That you posted, meaning you shared, and you had saved it to your device to share. So, no, I don't think that I need to read all of your comments underneath to see what your idea on it is. If you posted
it got
is your idea.
reported. The post got reported, so it's no longer there. So that's the problem with
I don't know who did
but it lasted for about 30
who did it, but
minutes.
I don't disagree.
Well, of course you don't. You're one of those people where you have a problem. You have a problem with racism against blacks, apparent racism against blacks. You have a problem with all these officers killing innocent black men, which is not factually true. But every time a conversation of white hate comes up, you never have anything to say. I'm a little bit concerned with the double standards and the bias.
Well, it's because you're a cuck, Kelvin. You're a cuck.
White hate.
People in your own race.
What white hate are you talking about?
Whether you like it or not.
What white hate are you talking about?
White hate doesn't exist, Kelvin.
You realize that the entire purpose of racism is that you enact power over that minority group, right? So racism can't exist if there is no power.
Okay, then what about South Africa? What about South Africa? What about all the white Christians that are being killed in South Africa by blacks? This is going largely ignored by the media, and it's been going on for quite a long time. Are they racist because they're the people that are in power in that area?
I mean, yes. By definition, yes. They would be.
Okay.
So just like under apartheid. So just like under apartheid government, when the black people were being oppressed in that country, the white people were racist there. So just like when the Hutus were killing the Tutsis in Rwanda, they were the racist versus other black people. That's how it works. It needs to have a power structure over it. So I don't understand what you're talking about, saying that I'm a racist because I don't recognize white hate in a country that's run by white people and has historically with the power.
Who actually runs
run by white people with a black president? Yes, black president.
Yes. First president out of 44.
Doesn't matter, Kelvin. We're talking about 2016. We are not talking about history. We're talking about 2016.
Hey, how many black senators are there out of 100?
There's a black president.
There's two black senators out of 100.
President.
You know how many? Senators?
Kelvin.
Listen, do you know how many senators we have had in our history? 1,963. You know how many of them have been black? 9. 9 out of 1,963. You cannot tell me that racism doesn't exist in America.
Yeah, it's
That's
almost.
ridiculous.
Hold on. I got this. Yeah, it's almost like there are only 12% of the population, and not everybody gets to be good at things. We're not complaining that blacks are overrepresented in the NBA and the NFL. I don't hear any complaints about that. Those are great, high-paying jobs with a lot of influence.
Because that's
also,
by
on top
merit.
of that,
That's by merit.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to win a seat by merit. You don't have to be qualified. It's not like people vote or anything for the most qualified. And hey,
well, actually, considering white primaries got outlawed in 1965, that is different. Yes, it is.
Excuse me. If we're going to talk about overrepresentation, why don't you ever complain about the Jews, who are vastly overrepresented in finance, as well as even the
Hollywood
Supreme Court, Hollywood, professorships, all of these Ivy League schools. Most of the students are even of Jewish descent. Why am I not hearing any complaining about that?
Because I don't see any laws going against Jewish people or white people in general.
And I don't see any laws going against black people.
Oh, really? You've never heard of white primaries, slavery, sharecropping, Jim Crow laws, black codes?
In 2016?
You've never heard of any of that?
In 2016.
No, not
in 2016.
This is what I'm talking
about, too.
Hey, you realize that our parents, were alive. You know what the biggest program out of affirmative action is? The GI Bill. You know how many? The GI Bill. Do you know the GI Bill helps out more white people than it does blacks? Do you know that, right?
It's almost like whites are reported 63.7% of the population, while black males are roughly around 6%. Yeah, so fancy that. They're not all going into the military.
Right, but this affirmative action program that you claim is directly benefiting blacks over whites, the biggest program with it, the GI Bill, vastly is better towards whites. So how is affirmative action a black-only program? How does that work?
Oh, my God, because you don't understand how demographics work.
Why don't you look up what the GI Bill is and what affirmative action is?
Listen here, you dumb faggot. I know what the fucking GI Bill is.
So why don't you know about this? Why am I teaching you this right now?
You're not teaching me shit. What you're doing is deflecting.
Clearly I am if you don't know it.
You're just insisting even though I tell you. Now, look, I know that affirmative action has other things as well as like for the disabled and shit like that. But it's not based on merit. But you'll say, oh, the NFL is based on merit. So, wait, if the NFL is based on merit, are you saying that black people may be better at sports? It's almost like I'm right. It's almost like there's a little cognitive dissonance going on here. It's almost like I'm correct and you're a fucking idiot and should drink bleach.
Wow. That's not quite a good argument
I don't kill
at
yourself,
all.
Kelvin. I don't give a shit, you little cuck.
All right, man, whatever. You can go ahead and start with your ad hominem attacks, as always.
Now joining us,
fucking queer.
Excuse me. Now joining us,
even though you're
Mary
admittedly
Kalaf,
gay,
a Republican politician from Utah who is a Trump supporter, and she's also a Muslim woman who supports Trump. Now, Mary, we do appreciate you joining the show before we even get to this interview. How are you doing on this beautiful Christmas Eve night?
It's wonderful, Chris. Thank you for having me, and Merry Christmas. And I hope it's a white Christmas where you are, and I hope everything's well.
All right, so let me ask you this. Obviously, you're a Muslim. How come you did not get offended when I said Merry Christmas? And what a follow-up question after that as well, Why are you not a victim of identity politics? Why are you a Muslim woman and you still decided to vote for Donald Trump?
Oh. Okay, well, I'll say the reason I wasn't offended is like it's any religion. You always have some people who are really extreme, some people who are mainstream, you know. And I'm not extremist, and I have no problem saying Merry Christmas. The prophet, peace be upon him, I'll call him the apostle. We call him the apostle. He wished people, he wished them greetings on their holidays. You know, so I have no problem with that. Oh, and the second
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
I was going to say, and the second part to identity politics is, maybe I don't have a victim mentality. Maybe I don't. Maybe it's I don't know exactly why I don't fall into the demographics. I just am a thinker. I don't know. A lot of the stuff that people throw out is all emotional and low information stuff. But go ahead.
So you would say that you are not brainwashed by the left, that you are plenty red-pilled.
No, I am not brainwashed by the left, and I will say that the left, I don't trust the left at all. The left doesn't care about Muslims at all.
Agreed.
The left doesn't care about being right. They don't care about being right. They don't care about being moral. They don't care about caring about people. All the people on the left want to do is be told exactly what to say to be socially acceptable. If on the left today they said that we must deport Muslims, the left would go for it. All their crap about how we want to protect Muslims against safety pins, it's all self-serving. It's all shallow. If you want to be a Democrat, really, if you want Democrats are they're slave makers. Their mentality is slave makers. They don't do anything for minorities at all. So to go with Democrats for me, it just lacks intelligence on some level.
What is your opinion on radical Islam? Of course, ISIS, all these other terrorist organizations. And have you ever experienced yourself Islamophobia?
Well, first I'll say about Islam, and only one of those sects can join ISIS. There are 72 other sects who cannot join ISIS because only this extreme form can join, and they're loons. They're total. You know who they are. What it is ISIS is the civil servants of Saddam Hussein who lost their jobs, and when the U.S. government came to arrest people who had committed war crimes under Saddam Hussein, well, not war crimes, but crimes against humanity under Saddam Hussein, they fled and became ISIS. That's who ISIS is, this vacuum from Saddam Hussein. So they're bloodthirsty killers. You know, they're, in fact, my family's from Iraq is 30 miles away from ISIS, and we always worry that they're going to overrun them. So for us, ISIS, you know, is something we're scared about. And what was the second question again?
I cannot even remember what the.
Okay, that's okay. You were saying something about ISIS.
Have you ever experienced Islamophobia?
Well, one time I get it from the left. I get it from liberals, hardcore. I've never experienced it from anyone. I don't hear it from anybody on the Republican side. I once was. There was the Wiccan group, the pagans. They called for a boycott in their church in a public setting at a coffee house. They called for a boycott of my business because they said because I was Muslim, and it was so bad that I actually went online and threatened to sue them. And they apologized because they did it in public, and they said that things that weren't true, and they had to come back and do a public apology. So I had a problem. I've had problems with liberals. They really come down hard on me. And then one time we had our car tires slammed, but we don't know why. So, but otherwise, no, we don't really have trouble. Most people are nice.
Kelvin?
Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. I had a couple of questions for you. Mary, right?
Yeah. What is your name?
Okay. Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Okay. Yep. And I'm just strictly being devil's advocate here because, you know, I do study the Constitution, so I realize that most of our governmental policies come from Congress and the rights are protected by the judiciary. So, you know, I realize that Trump doesn't have as much, you know, authoritarian control as people seem to think. But just coming devil's advocate on it, do you consider yourself a good person despite being a Muslim?
Yes, despite.
So, well, no. No, I'm just trying to be the liberal on the show here. So, with that in mind, would you say that it's not true that all Muslims are bad and should be banned entrance into the U.S.?
Well, if we're gonna okay, now that question, I'm gonna go with your question right there, and I'm gonna put a thing on it. I'm gonna say that people are people, and nobody should be banned in general. But I will say that we should ban people coming from designated terrorist countries.
Yes.
If they're refugees, we should ban them. And because, in fact, if you want to really help a refugee, you'll set them up at a camp near their area and help them get jobs and education and help them in other ways. It's actually more cost-effective and helpful. There's no need to bring, if they're from a terrorist-designated country, there's no need to bring them here. I'm going to just keep it completely real. We voted for Trump because we don't want to die. All right, we don't want people to come here. It only takes one bad refugee to come here, and ISIS said they were sending people through with the refugees, and we're not stupid. If they said they're sending people with the refugees, you really have to cut off anybody from a certain age. I would think that you'd have to cut off anybody over the age of 6.
Wow. Okay. Well, for my next question, as far as the Muslim registry goes that Trump had spoken about, how would you feel to know that, only you and perhaps none of your neighbors would need to sign up on this thing and be tracked by the government, for no apparent crime?
Well, okay, now I've heard it said that he wanted to register the people who come from terrorist countries so that if we know that there was a Syrian attack, we could go and say, where are all the Syrians living, which is really fair. And actually, everybody in America is already on a database. If you were to say we have a white male who's in his 30s doing this and this and this, you could go and find that in a database. Normal Americans are in a database. Foreigners who come here should be in a database just like us. And like I said, nobody said all Muslims have to register. Muslim refugees from terrorist-designated countries must be registered, which is fair because you don't want to bring someone here who suddenly disappears and then shows up with a dirty bomb in New York City. The risk is so great, and they have stated that they're going to be doing this, sending people through with the refugees. So I think we have to be extra diligent. And like I said, my neighbors are already on a registry. They have driver's license.
Well, yeah, that's fair. I had bad intel on that. I was under the impression that Trump wanted all Muslims. So that's my fault. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, and I appreciate you being so open, and that's the problem. The media puts out this hyperbole that all Muslims have to go, and that's not actually what he meant or what he said, but the media they put this blanket thing out. Donald Trump could say that he was going to do something wonderful, and the media would find a problem with it, and that they have an agenda, in my opinion. I like to go and see what was really said.
Right, absolutely. Well, I have one more question. It's kind of a two-part question, but to start, you're from Utah, right?
I'm from Indiana, but Utah. I live in Utah a long, long time.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if you would know, but here's my two-part question. How close were you to voting for Evan McMullin, and what was the support like for him in your area?
Okay, well, when I heard that Evan McMullin was running, I actually went up and protested his event up at the Weber State University. Evan McMullin is a charlatan who is using the Mormon religion. I believe he's a homosexual, and that may not be anybody's problem, but if you're going to be conservative with family values, we need to know where you stand on those certain things. And his support around here down in Provo, which is the Mormon Central, his support was high there. But the most feeling, especially on the local talk radio, they were really hard on him, and he actually hung up on local talk radio because he couldn't handle the questions because he was just a CIA plant. He's ridiculous what that was. That made a lot of Utahns mad because we knew he was taking advantage of the Mormon religion and our feelings to promote himself. And this
Right.
is not the time for promoting yourself. It's a very serious time in our country.
Yeah, very divisive election. I was kind of worried that, with him in the race, he might pull enough people away from Trump to help Hillary win. So that was my real concern there. But
yeah, I that was a real concern. I came out and really campaigned hard against that because it was ridiculous. He only got the Mormons, the really staunch Mormons who were not, to be honest, were not. He got those Mormons who are eating Jell-O at home and not really that into what's going on.
Well, that's all the questions I had. I think Bryden's up next.
Yeah. I wanted to know. Okay, I believe it was either Mattis or
Thank you,
Glenn,
by the way.
That it said Islamophobia is not real. Islamophobia is not real because there's a real reason to be afraid of Muslims. Obviously, with the attacks consistently coming from Islam, isn't it a little fair to go, yeah, I like a lot of what you said so far. I mean, I got to be honest, you're the most agreeable Muslim that I've met, but I'm not a fan of Islam. Is it a little fair to have those feelings? Like if I get on a plane and I see somebody in a hijab, I go, all right, shit. Hopefully it's not all over again.
We're afraid of Muslims, all right? It is not illogical to be afraid of a Muslim. It's not illogical.
My girl Mary.
Okay. We're not the people who come in throwing flowers at people and giving chocolates away. We have a problem we have a problem that we need to address. And it's a mental issue. It's a deep problem. It's a problem of mental mental issues that we don't deal with in our culture. It's a problem with radical clerics use and manipulate. It's education. The Islamic culture discourages education on some level. It has a culture of going along and we have deep-seated problems that we need to address, and so it is normal for someone to feel fear from a Muslim. It's not illogical.
All right, fair enough. And I had a second question. Do you want to throw Kelvin off of a building because he's gay?
No, I don't want to throw Kelvin off of a building.
Wow.
This is just my personal thing. This is just, we're supposed to live in a garden, but we don't. Adam and Eve's garden is not here. We live in a flawed world. And I don't know if you know this, but Saudi Arabia and Mecca, it used to be run by homosexuals at Mecca. Mecca was run by homosexuals. They called them they were eunuchs, right? And they were holy men, and they for thousands of years homosexuals were in charge. Even Jesus said that homosexuals have a purpose. That some of them, their purpose is to serve God. And the homosexuals used to be in charge of Mecca, but then I don't know if you've ever heard of Wahhabism, but when Wahhabism is a sect, an extreme sect, and it took over Saudi Arabia when the king, the House of Saud, took over with all the oil money. They brought in a radical cleric who killed all the homosexuals at Mecca and brought in this extreme Islam that is today. And if you ask most Muslims, they'll say, I don't listen to Saudi because everybody knows Saudi sold us Wahhabis and they took it over, they hijacked it and all that. So people always say, it's the Wahhabis, it's not us, because these extremists have taken over, and unfortunately they have taken over Mecca. So they have complete control. It's kind of like being held hostage in a way. It's like, oh, we love Mecca, but there's these assholes in charge. But then we remember that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us this would happen. So, we go, okay. Okay. But no, I don't want to throw him off a roof. That's what I'm saying. We're not perfect. Not a perfect world.
Mary, I'm not gay.
Yeah,
what?
He just wanted to clarify. He's really, really gay, though. He's just scared of you.
I'm not gay at all. And Bryden is actually gay. That's the.
I couldn't hear all of that, but I just heard gay. That's all I.
I'm not gay, but Bryden actually is. So it's odd that I'm getting thrown the insults.
No, and I don't have. People have homosexual feelings. That happens for a lot of different reasons. What I do have a problem with a group, like you do with anyone who has a group who tries to be extremist, just like you have a problem with the Wahhabis being extremists. I have a problem with people who are extremists.
I hate
too
the
extreme.
too. Yeah, while they prance around, they float around with the rainbow flags. I hate the faggots. I can't deal with that.
Well, there's always
it's horrible.
extremists on there's extremists on all angles, So,
but how am I how am I not sure that you're not practicing? What is it? Maybe you would know exactly how to say this.
Takia.
Was it Takia? Yeah, Takia, the lying doctrine. How do I not know?
Well, the thing is, Takia, you don't. Isn't that scary? Isn't that scary? Now, the Takia is like this
man, no,
right?
that's getting sampled and like ended up all over YouTube and like you can't trust a Muslim. Like
that's the one you should use right there. Get it up, Mary said. Takia it's a deep concept, and it's this concept that sometimes you can lie, and the concept is a husband can tell his wife that he loves her, even if perhaps he's not in love with her at that moment or at all because they have arranged marriages. And so you can lie and say things to your wife to make her feel better, and you can also lie to bring two adversaries together. If two people were fighting, and you could say he's not as mad as you think, even though he is. You see, you can lie to bring people together, but I've never been given a book, and I've never been told, and I've been given a lot of stuff. I've never been told lie to these people, lie to them about what we believe or what we're doing. So, and it's kind of like, remember I said there's a whole bunch of sects in Islam. And for a long time, Islam was all by itself. It wasn't involved in the West. It was just itself for 1,000 years or something. And during that time, there's these, like, over 70 groups fighting over who was the right Islam. And during that fighting time, they would say all these horrible things about each other. And so when you hear something about Islam, sometimes you have to go back and say, well, where did that come from? Because was that because this sheikh was fighting with this sheikh, and he said this about Muhammad's wife, this, like how you hear that Aisha was sick. You hear this a lot. Aisha was 6 years old. And the reason you hear this is because there's 3 recorded ages. That's why you got to remember, these groups are fighting. They're saying all kinds of stuff, so you really have to get down to what's the truth. Because there's no 72 virgins. It's grapes, all right? So, so like that when the sheikh has said that Aisha was 6, he was 5. There was this group, and they were fighting over who was the favorite wife. It's a big thing in Islam about who was Muhammad's favorite wife, and they make up lies about each other, and they go, oh, Aisha was 6. She was a whore. She was, and they try to discredit the marriage. And so people have actually, like, right around the time that guy was writing that, there's other scholars who are saying, disregard this person, he's lying because of this. So you could document, not everything you ever hear is true, and you have to really go back and say, even if it's a good thing about Muhammad, peace be upon him, even if it's a good thing, you have to go back and say, is that really true? Because people make up stuff. It's
almost like you guys were always warring with each other and everybody else on the planet. Seriously, since the dawn of time.
Now, Mary.
Yeah.
Now, Mary, before we go ahead and let you go, you did want to talk a little bit about a charity that you were involved in. Go ahead and plug your charity and everything that you're involved in.
Well, it's not my charity. I was at a charity today, and I thought it was a great charity, and it's between Christians, atheists, Jews, and Muslims, and it's called Kin Olam, and it's the Jewish principle that we must restore the earth to balance. And I just wanted to give a shout-out to that group. I appreciate that. And if you don't mind, I'd love to plug that I run the Kalaf House in Ogden, Utah, and we are a safe space for wellness, and we teach American cultural assimilation and empathy and inclusivity through gardening. And my Twitter is MaryAmKhalaf. Oh, and I'm running for city council, so vote for me.
Nice. We do appreciate you calling into the show, Mary, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Thanks for letting me come on, guys. Happy New Year.
Yes, ma'am.
Happy Hanukkah, all that. Bye-bye.
Maybe not the Hanukkah.
You too.
Oh, man. So that was a good – we did have – Kelvin had messaged me over the during the interview and had let me know that we had some good guests this week, and we have had some good guests this week with her. Was not expecting her to have a lot of the views that she had, especially about Muslims, but She made perfect logical sense. With people like that, Bryden, does that change your opinion a little bit on Islam, or are you still
No, not at all.
fuck Islam?
No, I'm still fuck Islam. I mean, I'd love to have her on my show. I'd love to talk to her sometime. I mean, she seems rather agreeable, but as I said, there's always outliers. There's Christians who call themselves Christian, and then they only go to church on Easter and Christmas. It's like, yeah, it's fine. She seems, she seems like a smart and nice lady, and I think I'd like to talk to her a little bit more about, the troubles that Europeans are having with Islam right now. But she seems largely agreeable. Or it was Takia the whole fucking time, and I don't know. Like, you don't know. I'm extremely distrustful of Muslims, but I'd like to say we could sit down and have a drink, but I probably don't drink. So, yeah.
So,
she seems nice.
Kelvin, it's almost been nearly 2 hours now that you have been talking to Bryden about different issues and different topics. What is your overall opinion on Bryden now that you have actually got to talk to him?
I think he's a lot more agreeable than I expected, but he does have his beliefs and they're set in stone. So it's not much flexibility there, but he is a lot more agreeable. He does listen to your points, so I don't have any issues. I mean, I like to talk to people with different points of view and hear their perspectives on life, so I thought it was interesting.
Bryden, what is because you've heard a little bit about Kelvin, what is your opinion on Kelvin after 2 hours of discussing topics with him?
Well, his repressed homosexuality is very, very no. He's a nice enough fella. He's a nice enough fella. I like picking on him. I mean, that's for sure. I like calling him a fag and all of this. But like, I'm sure we agree on pretty much nothing outside of we might, like some of the same music or beer or something. But that's you're not a bad guy, Kelvin. I just I don't think we agree politically on anything or about our worldviews at all. Which is fine. I'm used to that with people. And I don't feel bad for calling you a fag repeatedly because it was a lot of fun. But it's fine. You're gonna find yourself a nice man someday. It'll be okay.
No worries there.
Oh.
I'm secure with how I am, so that offense, there's none there.
Oh man. Brian, I'm just
you got a good
question out of curiosity. Well, Brian, just a question out of curiosity. You say that you're gay, but you make fun of gay people a lot. You are such a complex character, and I try to explain this to people that it's you have to know Bryden in order to understand him, because people just are so quick to put a label on you. Do you care to try to explain how you're so complex and you're gay, but yet you don't necessarily agree with gay marriage? You're also a Christian, but you're gay. Just so many different things. You're a white nationalist, but friends with the black nationalist. Explain Bryden Proctor.
Well, I mean, that would take, a lot of time and all of that. I mean, I don't think I'm that complex, but regarding homosexuality, you can check out, I did a video on it. I think it's partly genetic, but largely a choice. It's a habit that I have gotten into. I don't mind it. I just don't want to flaunt it around to everybody on the planet, running around peeing on people at a pride parade going, this is the new normal. This is fine, because it's not normal. And it's not fine because the spread of disease such as, HIV, meningitis, all of this happens, and the damage to the rectum that happens through homosexual sex, which is probably going to give any of the female listeners you have a thing that they can now say to go, that's why I don't do anal. But, it is what it is. It's a choice just like anything else. You were genetically predisposed to be an alcoholic or not. It's the thing of whether or not you act on it and your environment and things that happen throughout your life. Being a white nationalist and being friends with people that aren't white is fine. I don't see how that's a big deal. I mean, any of the black nationalists that I would ever speak to, I think we can come to a common ground of we want the same thing. We want our own land. And if we're able to work with them and say, all right, let's divvy up territory, because it wouldn't be fair to send them to Africa. They're not African. Most Black Americans have at least 25% European DNA, which is why they fare better than the people chasing gazelle. But, they need to also understand if it wasn't for slavery, which was a horrible thing, they wouldn't be here. We need to understand that if it wasn't for slavery, they wouldn't be here. So that's why I'd be fine with giving them some of America and letting them have their place. It's fine. I'm friends with people that totally disagree with me. My best friend is a Jew and a lesbian Democrat on top of it. So she's just like 3 strikes and you're supposed to be out. But I love her to death, and she's great, and we hang out several times a week. Just because I believe in white separatism doesn't mean that I can't be friends with people. Just because I hate Islam doesn't mean that I can't have a nice conversation with that Mary lady. It just means my end goal is different than hers, and that's completely fine. It's fine for people to take nuanced approaches to things. And I even do that with just outwardly trolling people or trying to get them to fight with each other and like calling people names and stuff, because they're like, well, that's not a very good debate tactic. And I go, I don't care, you're still a faggot. And it still makes them lose their shit. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to fit yourselves into these boxes that other people have orchestrated for you. And society has made for you. It's different with genetics. Genetics, we have no choice. The 3 of us have similar DNA, but it's not the same. We come from different parts of Europe.
Before we get deeper into this, something that you had said about slavery. You had put up a post on Facebook last night that said, quote, unquote, blacks are a parasite to Western culture. I sent a picture of it to Kelvin to get his opinion on it. And Kelvin said, quote, unquote, by his own logic, wouldn't that make Western culture dumb for kidnapping this group and forcing them to be a part of them to begin with? Do you care to answer that question? Because that is a valid question.
Sure. Are Arabs dumb for doing the same thing?
I mean, by definition, yeah.
Yeah. See, I mean, I slavery is a horrible thing. There's no excuse for it. They were wrong, and they shouldn't have done that. It's horrible, absolutely. I was also extremely drunk at the time when I did that, and I just get drunk. But I stand by it. I think that they're a very small percentage of the population and account for just a lot of violent crime. And we need to understand what's going on in that community. But a lot of it has to do with high testosterone, lower average IQ, and I cannot remember the name of the chemical, but there was a chemical that is released in your head that we all have it. When you're driving and or a better example would be when you're sitting on the edge of a cliff, but there's still a voice in your head that says, jump, do it. Do something self-construct. Don't have a long-term plan. And this is what happens with plenty of blacks. You'll see them say, after assault cases or murders or things like that, I wasn't thinking. They have less of, I really should know this, but I've been drinking the whole show. There's a chemical that's released in your brain that stops you from doing that. It stops you from doing stupid shit that's going to harm you that you already know better. Blacks happen to not have as much of that, and they have higher self-esteem, etc. This was important during the early stages of evolution because they would have to run at wild animals and kill them, whereas whites were snow pushers. We had to plot and plan to trap an animal and then kill it. It's all evolutionary. It's just we're just biologically different, and with the advancement of technology and multiculturalism, it's made for an interesting experiment as we try to go through our lives. But we are different, and we build different cultures, and we have different ways of processing information in just a day-to-day life.
Kelvin, why do you disagree? Because we had Darren on last week who agreed with Bryden. He is a black nationalist. He's also a separatist. He agrees with everything that Bryden is saying as far as blacks and whites. They cannot coexist. They're extremely different. They should have separate nations. So what makes you disagree with Bryden and Darren, and what makes you, well, you're not a nationalist. What are you, Kelvin? Are you a globalist? Are you a nationalist? What do you consider yourself as?
You know, I've never really thought of a label, but I guess maybe a humanist, egalitarian, something like that.
No, egalitarianism, I think, is fine to a certain point, but we've reached a level of extreme egalitarianism where we're pretending that gender roles don't matter when they do. Gender roles, it comes down to women are not better than men, and men are not better than women. We complement each other. That's why, I'm not in favor of gay people and lesbian people raising children unless it's absolutely necessary. Because it would be better if it's okay, let's say, I get married to a boy, which I would never get married. Let's just say I'm with a boy, and then my sister and her husband die. It would be better to, give them to family. But I don't see how that would be good, because they're not going to get the full experience of being raised by a mother-father duo. These roles are complementary to each other. They work so well, and they work so well for the longest time. That doesn't mean that we need to go back to a time where it's totally fine to beat your wife. It's not. But we need to understand that we are all different. Our genetics are something that we can't deny, and that matters with gender as well. There's a reason we've made it this far. That's it. You can't say that in the 50s they weren't just saying, oh yeah, people being trannies is totally fine. Which I have I have a trans friend, and she's great. I call her a she out of respect, but she knows that she's a boy, and doesn't say that it's normal, and is a Trump-supporting conservative and a white nationalist.
Wow,
that's super interesting. I mean, Kelvin, you don't hear about stuff Kelvin in your leftist bubble. You don't hear about stuff like this because you're so used to identity politics. When you hear people like Bryden or people like Darren or people like the transfer, when people fall outside of identity politics, Kelvin, why do you get so surprised at that?
Well, the thing is, I don't have a leftist. Go ahead.
Sorry, just to be fair, Andrew, I'm not going to pretend that I don't play identity politics. I think identity is very, very important. I just think that we
but the identity politics but the identity politics that you are playing, you bring factual stuff into it, research and scientific evidence and all of this. The left identity politics is you're black, you're supposed to vote Democrat. You're black, you're supposed to support Black Lives Matter. That's the identity politics that I'm talking about.
I just wanted to make sure that there was that clarification, because it is absolutely true. The alt-right is identity politics, but white identity politics are now in play.
Well, as far as the alt-right, Black Lives Matter, the white hate, that doesn't hurt the alt-right. That empowers the alt-right, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean,
so why does the left continue to push it then if it empowers the alt-right?
They're fucking morons. They don't know what the hell they're doing. It's almost like they have a mental disability.
Well, they do. They're part of the left. We could all agree on that. No. Right, Kelvin?
Well, Kelvin's not going to agree on that.
No. The thing is, I don't have a leftist bubble. All of my friends are not members of the Democratic Party of the state of Virginia. I talk to a bunch of different people. I follow different news sources. I don't have that one group, so I don't know what all Democrats are thinking. I don't know what all liberals are thinking. I know what feels right to me, and for me,
yeah, but
I like
but the problem, with
feels,
making
right?
that statement is a lot of stuff that you say. We've heard this from leftists before. It's like you fall in line and you repeat their same thoughts. That's why I get the impression that you are in a leftist bubble.
No, because actually I have a lot of opinions that don't just fall in line with them. Like, we've talked about it before, how I'm for the death penalty. Or even what Bryden had just mentioned with, I wouldn't say as far as the gay couples, but with women in the military, I'm not pro them doing everything that men do. Like combat roles, I don't think they should be joined. I feel like that women are physically can do different things than men can, and that's just factual. I mean, I don't know very many women that can lift as much as I can, and that's not me being arrogant.
So
that's just me.
Since you say that you do like to go by factual stuff, then let me ask a BLM-related question to you, because you repeat a lot of the you repeat a lot of the stuff that we've heard from the left when BLM comes up. So you say you like to go by facts. All right. So according to the FBI, a black man is more likely to shoot a cop than a cop shooting a black man. So you are obviously a big BLM supporter. So what are your views on that statistic?
I mean, that's terrible. I mean, there's no way I'm in support of police being killed. You know that I served as military police when I was in the Marine Corps for 5 years. So there's no way that I would be like, yeah, let's kill cops. No, not at all. My point was that these murderers, they're held accountable. They're taken to court. They see their day of justice, and they're put in jail for a long time, and that's pretty consistent across the board. But now we keep seeing cases where a black person, or I'm really upset about any people being killed by cops because police brutality is an issue of its own. But these people, they will kill someone, a civilian. They're getting paid by taxpayer dollars that everyone contributes to, and then they get off as if there was no crime committed. That's my problem, police brutality. And police brutality has really been the central focus about black civil rights for a long time, long before Black Lives Matter, long before the civil rights movement in the 60s. You know, that's been a case since slavery ended, man. That's not anything new. You know, police brutality, not so much black.
Kelvin, police brutality has improved. I am right with you that these people need to be held extremely accountable. But if we look at, like, even the case of Philando Castile, what's his face? It was brought up on charges. If you look at what happened in Phoenix, that lady is being brought up on charges. But the thing is that makes Black Lives Matter so dangerous and so shitty is that they react before all the facts come in about anything. And it's consistently kind of wrong. It's you get like Tariq Nasheed, getting owned by Tucker Carlson all the time, and they want to racialize this. But the thing is, it isn't about race outside of the fact that, hey, why the hell are black people having so many interactions with police? And what I am saying is we need to look at why that is. And the reason is genetic. They would have less interaction with, because I would imagine a black police force would be run a little bit different. Black people in general are distrustful of whites, and I can understand why. A lot of that is Jewish media that's been shoved down their throats. I even have an incident that happened, it's been about a year. My black friend should have been totally arrested. We drank a lot at the bar, like $150 worth of shit at the bar. Tons of shots, beers that were $3. We drank a lot. We should have been cut off. We drank a lot. And then he got mad. He thought his laptop was in there. Wasn't the case. He pulled off the handle of the door, and I go, dude, you're gonna go to jail, and like I can't be here when this happens. Like, why are you doing this? The police were nice enough to call me and say, we don't want to send him to jail. We don't want to do anything to him. You take him. This happens more times than innocent black men getting shot. But BLM takes any time that a black dude is shot and they blow it out of proportion. Like what happened in Charlotte. There was a black cop, and then it was like, oh, yeah, okay, he deserves that. But his brother says, fuck white cops, fuck white people are the devil. Then they rioted, and then it found out, oh, it wasn't a book, that's retarded. that was a lie, and then a protester was shot, and they said it was the cop. Oh, it wasn't. It was gang-related. It was something different. But whatever. We're just going to keep rioting. They racialize it, and if they want to racialize it, we need to racialize it in the right way and ask the question, why is such a small percentage of the population committing so much violent crime? I think it's genetic, but it could be, it is, I guess, a genetic and cultural mix. But just to say, oh, because of my slavery, my 800 years of slavery, my 2,000 years of slavery, we was kangs and shit, is bullshit. And that is what I don't like about Black Lives Matter. They were co-opted entirely by black nationalists. I watched it happen to Occupy Wall Street. They were not a Marxist movement at the beginning. But Black Lives Matter has been totally co-opted by black. I'm okay with. But they need to quit being violent, and the president needs to stop legitimizing them, unless we're going for a two-state solution between blacks and whites.
One thing is, I can't control the media and what agenda they try to push onto the population. But, I mean, you mentioned Philando Castile.
Bro.
Well, okay, he's mentioned a few cases, and those were questionable cases.
Trayvon Martin could have been my son. Bullshit.
Yeah, Trayvon Martin got murdered. He got confronted by a guy acting as a law enforcement agent when he was not.
Who, according to the police report, Zimmerman hit him first, attacked him first. Let's be fair.
Right, but how would Trayvon hit him had he not confronted him in the beginning? How would that happen?
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you Zimmerman's not a fucking cock or a cunt.
Terrible.
He's a total. Yeah, he's a dick. And guess what? He's not fucking white. So
hey, man, the point was I didn't say he was white. I said police brutality. Okay, and I know he's not exactly a police officer, but he was acting as if he was in that instance, and he got off scot-free. And then you said Philando Castile. Well, you realize that the officer has not had his day in court, so there's no telling if he'll be let off of those charges or if he'll get convicted or not. And then you got Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, Eric Garner. Those are all off the top of my head where they were murdered and there was no repercussions whatsoever.
The only one that you listed that I completely, wholeheartedly agree with is Eric Tragedy. And they arrested the guy that took the video, too. I agree. Those people should be held accountable for what they did. So there is common ground here, and that's wrong. But there's tons of people that get away with tons of shit. People are still mad about fucking OJ. And then he had to go fuck up again. But, imagine that. It's almost like they don't have a lot of time preservation. There are bad judges, there are bad instances, but to just pick out those exclusively denies the actual FBI statistics that 1 in 3 rapes are perpetuated by black men. The amount of black men that rape white women is through the roof. Do you know how many black women are raped by white people? It's astronomically low. Why is it that it's black men committing around 50% of the homicides each year? This is why they have interactions with police anyway. And if you want to talk about longer sentences, they usually have priors, which the judge looks at. And if you don't like that's a shame. Go and talk to the judge.
You're missing the point. The point is excessive force police brutality. Tamir Rice was 12 years old. Freddie Gray was already in police custody and had his spine severed. Eric Garner was selling cigarettes and got put in a chokehold and killed on the street in front of people.
Did you know?
That is not okay. Those people should be held accountable.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent. Let's look at Eric Garner first because it's the one that I agree with you on. Did you know Eric Garner has been told consistent? Eric Garner, no, we're going for 3 hours.
We don't have time.
We're going for 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll have to pick this up. We'll have to get Brighton on next week so we can continue a little bit of this discussion. Kelvin's going to bring 4 new BLM cases next week when John is back with us. We'll be back next Saturday, same time, same place, newmediacentral.net. Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You were listening to Unpopular Popularity here on newmediacental.net. Merry Christmas, you punk bitches. Enjoy the night. Andrew Powell, Kelvin Gravely, and sitting in for John Stutsman, the white nationalist himself, Bryden Proctor. We've all been waiting for this moment, motherfuckers. Merry Christmas.
The holidays just got even happier. Run to Old Navy tomorrow to get 50% off all jeans for the family. Get all your favorite denim styles, all at 50% off for just one day only, tomorrow at Old Navy. Valid 12/26. The holidays just got even happier. Run to Old Navy tomorrow to get 50% off all jeans for the family. Get all your favorite denim styles, all at 50% off for just one day only, tomorrow at Old Navy. Valid 12/26.